Hi, everybody. Well, I'm back to my same day record and publish routine. This is my first day, um, and I'm back in my office for the first time in a few weeks, and it feels good. I'm glad to be here. Actually, I my desk is raised, kind of cafe style height, and so I couldn't get into my chair, my raised chair, until the last couple of days. So I'm making progress. Life is good. I wanted to talk today, about triaging. A friend of ours, member of the congregation, is approaching surgery, shoulder reconstruction surgery. And it was originally scheduled for a couple of days ago, but because she's at a trauma center here in Rochester, the surgery got bumped from a couple of accidents. The operating rooms were taken over by the emergency response, and so she has been bumped back, and we think it will happen today, but again, we're not sure. It might get bumped further. We just have to kind of go with it. And while she is the most important of all of those components to us, let's face it, hers is not life-threatening. And she would be the first to say that, I think. So the doctors and nurses there, the medical staff, have to triage. They have to decide what's the order we're going to take people in, what's most important from sort of an objective standpoint. Because to every family, their person is the most important, and rightly so. But it brought me around to thinking about church. What does that word mean to you? There have been times in my life when it was drudgery. I had to get up and go to church. I was living at home even as a college student for a couple of years. And so Saturday night, I would not be at home. I would be out. In those days, it was an 18-year-old drinking age I availed myself of. And I would come in very late Saturday night, early Sunday morning, and there was my mother the next morning, time to get up for church. And I remember saying to her, "Oh, but I'm an adult now." And she said, "No, as long as you're living in this house, under this roof, we go to church on Sunday morning. I don't care what you do Saturday night, but you will go to church on Sunday morning." Not what any young adult wants to hear, but it was my reality. Looking back on it, it was not a bad reality. Church at other times has meant comfort and community. It has meant embarrassment over our church's history and sometimes its current stands on various issues. And I know from hearing from some of you that you wrestle with the same sort of ambivalence about church, for all the good it can do, just how hurtful and harmful it can be. I think we miss the point when we stay bogged down in what has church been to us in the past. Excuse me. And I think that the opportunity we are being given right now, especially with the COVID shutdowns around the country, and having to withdraw internally, is our opportunity to redefine and redesign what church is going to be for us. Now, I am a staunch believer that faith should be enacted in community. I think faith communities have been the bedrock of civilization, even pre-Christendom. So whatever you're going to do, I hope you'll find a couple of other people to do it with you. But figuring out what works for you and what doesn't is kind of the topic in my mind today. We've been conducting a survey. It's still ongoing. So if you're a South Church person and you haven't sent your survey in, you can until August 1st. It's important for me to understand what people's desire is, what their needs are right now in terms of spirit and congregation and worship. And so the survey asks, about different kinds of technology you have access to. Do you have access to the internet? Are you comfortable with Zoom? Are you comfortable with Facebook? Do you have access to YouTube? Because not all of our people do. Some don't have smartphones and they have no internet access. So, we're figuring out how to address that. But I'm getting some new understanding, I think, of where our people are and probably where most people are. It's easy for those of us for whom spirituality and spiritual development and our interior world is vital and is a priority. It's important for us to realize that that is not true for everyone else. That there are some people for whom spirit is distant. It is not at the forefront of their minds. And there are some people who come to church just to be with their friends. And there are some people who come to church just to sing a hymn or to hear the choir, sometimes to hear the sermon. Or there are people who come to church because they're bored, they have nothing else to do, and it's convenient. And at the same time, there are people who come to church, and here I'm using the word church very specifically about worship, and please know that that is not my definition of church, but I'm putting it out there because it is the colloquial understanding. We'll talk about that in a second. But people who come to church, there are people who come to church because they want to deepen themselves, they want to connect with God, they find greater meaning in that rhythm of their lives. As soon as you take that definition of church as a Sunday morning or a Saturday evening worship experience and you expand it to be a 24/7 possibility, I mean, I am in church right now in my thinking with you because I know that I'm connecting with you across time and space with people who are focusing their attention or their spirit or allowing themselves to be taken away by someone else's thoughts so that we can enrich each other in this. Do I think it has to be in person? No. Do I think it has to be able to be articulated? No. I think there are some blind studies that have been done, and if you're interested, I'm happy to send you the link, with Duke University around healing and prayer. And for the last 20 years, they have been conducting scientific experiments that prove that when heart patients, are prayed for, even if they don't know they are being prayed for, even if the people praying for them don't know the people for whom they are praying, the people who are prayed for, who are in that part of the experiment, improve faster with a more complete healing than those who are not. Totally random strangers. So, that's just one example. Duke has been doing this research for at least the last 20 years that I'm aware of. I think there are 3 or 4 big studies that have come out from them in that time. So I digress a little, but I'm getting to this point. We are connected, whether we are in person or not, whether we're aware of it or not. When we open ourselves up to that dimension of spirit, we are connected, we are changed. And it doesn't mean that all of us have to have the same goal. We can triage when it comes to our definition of church. We can triage, separate out even people in a worship service and why they're there, why you're there, why you're here at Prayerful Pause is different from why I'm here at Prayerful Pause, or the person down the road who's watching it, or across the country who's watching it. It doesn't matter the reason. And each is just as valid as the other. And too many ministers, in my opinion, want everybody to become like the super spiritual gurus. No. People are called to what they're supposed to do. And I have a few people in my congregation who feel guilty that they're not doing more than they should. If you're watching this, you're doing exactly what you should be doing. There's no guilt here. Each one of us responds to the Spirit in our own way. And together we are the church. So it's about triaging, letting people separate out what's most important to me, what is secondarily important or tertiarily important, and knowing that it's all good, that Jesus doesn't expect us all to be, part of the 12 or within that, the inner circle. He just tells us to share what we know, whatever it is that's important to us about how much God loves us. That's what we're supposed to share. Okay? That's it for today. First day back. I'm excited. I'm Pastor Deb Swift. Thanks for joining me for this prayerful pause with the pastor. I'm pastor at South Presbyterian Church in Rochester, New York. If you'd like to learn more about South Church, our website address is on the end cap here. If you'd like to see more prayerful pauses or complete worship services for that matter, please visit our YouTube channel, South Church Rochester. That's also on the end cap. And that's it for now. So we'll see you next time, I trust. God bless. Take care. Be safe. Bye for now. See you next time.